hard for the Chinese or India to leave themselves out, because I think that they would then face not only condemnation, but over time, maybe some other kinds of actions from the rest of the world, because we all do live in the same planet. Let me just add one additional comment, if I could, real quick. I don't know which direction China is going. I noticed, if you happen to notice today, the latest news is that they are building up their submarine fleet. They continue to act irrationally about Taiwan. I just don't get it, why they have this incredible, almost knee-jerk reaction about Taiwan. It's clear that it's still not the progress we wanted to see, whether it be Hong Kong or whether it be their own country. It's a little scary when a group of men, as far as what I can tell, get together in a seaside resort in China and make decisions that affect the largest nation on the planet, at least population-wise. And we're not seeing a lot of the progress that we had hoped to see. At the same time, there are other areas where they've been cooperative. I think they've been a little bit helpful in the North Korean situation recently. I think they have been. And there's other areas that there's some good news. But I'll tell you, this is going to be one of the great challenges of the 21st century, is how China emerges as one of the world's superpowers. And I think we're going to have some interesting times, as the Chinese say. One more. Oh, yes.
Hi, Eileen Elam. I just want to bring you back to Iraq. I really appreciated your comment about the withdrawing and setting a date. And if you do that, we're potentially setting up the country for a genocide. However, what I'm not seeing is there a situation or a time where you say, yes, this is either we need to cut our losses now because we aren't going to make any progress, or we've made enough progress that now is the time to pull out. So I'd like to hear your perspective on both A and B.
All I can say is that the generals over there tell me that probably in September there will be a better report than the interim report that Petraeus just gave, the president just gave. But will it be good enough to satisfy the impatience of the American people? And I want to repeat over and over and over again, I understand the impatience. I understand the sorrow. I understand the sacrifice. It's been enormous. And for, as we mentioned, for 3.5 years, there was the mismanaged, to say the least, strategy over there. I still believe that setting a date for withdrawal will be chaos. Now, will conditions be well enough that our troops can withdraw from the combat areas, which brings casualties down? That's really the key to it. We've had troops in South Korea for 50 years. No one cares, obviously, or we're glad in a way because it leads to stability in Asia, but it's the casualties. If we can get the Iraqi military to be bearing the brunt of taking care of their own security problems, then I think the American people will be generally satisfied. But we hear the good news and the bad news. We hear a police force that is not only not effective but corrupt. We hear of some units that are operating in Baghdad that are doing a good job. We hear of some other units that are riven by by Shiite militia, which are only interested in going after Sunni. So all I'm saying is that, and I know I'm not giving you a good answer, is that we should at least give this strategy some opportunity to succeed, and that certainly is not now. And I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer, but if I had to place my worries, my number one worry right now is not so much militarily, because we are showing some progress militarily, but it's whether the Maliki government will govern effectively. And as I pointed out before, you can have military success, but if you truly want to have a country move forward, it's got to be all of the others. And you real quick, sir, and then I'll quit.
Senator, I appreciated many of the comments covered today, green agenda and so on. An excellent point was made in terms of relative timing. And I think you've addressed attention to the fact that if fundamental Islamic extremism is not effectively addressed, we may not have the opportunity to deal with green issues and so on. Above and beyond the immediate context of strategy in Iraq and or immediate issue of nuclear threat in Iran, I'd be interested in your vision of how to address fundamental Islamic extremism and the balance between, military interventions versus longer-term strategies of democratization and economic growth and so on.
Thank you. I think, and it is a challenge to everybody in this room, I think that the forces of radical Islamic extremism is making a better and more effective use of cyberspace than we are. They are very effective. How many people watch Al Jazeera? How many people of these young people in London that turned into suicide bombers really got their motivation and their connections through the use of the internet? How many young people are being persuaded as we speak by what they're seeing over the internet? Since when did we ever envision after 9/11 that the doctors would become suicide bombers? It was not in the realm of the parameters of what we thought suicide bombers were, what these radical Islamic extremism were. The stereotype was the kid standing on a street corner in Islamabad with no food, no hope, no job, no opportunity, taken into the madrasas funded with Saudis. Now we have radical Islamic extremism breeding in our own country and in countries in Western Europe, young people who have never even visited the Middle East, much less grow up in the conditions of poverty and deprivation that we always believed the conventional wisdom was. Look, they're doing a better job there. This is not just military, it's diplomatic, it's intelligence, but at the end of the day, it's convincing these young people that it's wrong to hate everything we stand for and believe in, that what we stand for and believe in are the values which are universal, and they apply to Islam as well as they apply to Judeo-Christian principles. At the end of the day, we win this struggle by I hate to use the phrase hearts and minds because it harkens back to another conflict, but we really do. This has got to do with what fundamental beliefs and principles, on the noblest principle ever articulated, that we believe everyone is created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights. That's what we have to convince these young people of. And that's the challenge of the 21st century, and that's why we're going to be in the struggle for a very, very long time, in my view. And a quick postscript. I could hop around the world in different places, but look at the problems Musharraf is having in Pakistan right now. Look at the instability in the Saudi regime. Look at what the Iranians are doing. Look at what's happening in southern Lebanon. Look at what's happening vis-a-vis a number of other places in the world. And it means that we live in a dangerous and challenging world. But when I come here, and when I go to Google, and when I see these young people in Iraq who are serving with such bravery, I have no doubt in my mind that we will win. Thanks very much, and thanks for the question. Thank you.